All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm up and running here. Today, I'd like to take a moment and discuss daily events, especially that in Chiromancy. Magical correlations, if you wish to call it that, can transpire in your life without you even realizing it. You know, a lot of people tend to put things in perspective on their own, whereas others tend to, well, let's just say shit happens for a reason. Now, a lot of times, especially today, I've gotten a few contacts today, one of which was on a Blackstone that is similar to a scrying mirror. Could be utilized for demonology, protection, even aligning yourself with certain energies. Another one for Chiromancy was a spiritual reading on a photo. The question about the individual was if they were actually loyal. Were they really into the individual in question? You know, shit like that. And a lot of times, people don't realize that events are unfolding in a natural state. Sometimes, and it's rare, it is done by a magical spell of some format. Most options of spells, especially in divination or, say, for example, hexcraft, love spells, you know, your basic curses, hexes, stuff like that are normally placed on you. But in my experience, there is no better curse than that you place on yourself. Basically, you can throw a curse out at somebody and it's just an open curse. Basically, the individual, the target, tends to put it on themselves. And my point about this is that a lot of people, especially those who are having bad luck of some format, tend to bring about this negativity on themselves. And it's not their fault. They just don't know any better. Because they're just buying into their own nature or that of the social populace and what is politically correct. Now, as sorcerers, we tend to, as how should I say this? I believe Nietzsche said it best. Mankind is something to surpass. Okay? And as sorcerers, we don't stick to any one form, style, or tradition of magic, but instead we master them all. And when it comes to chiromancy, and I was talking with a client about this earlier today, is you really do not need to do anything fancy. Just a matter of putting it out there a lot of the time. If you have a strong enough desire, a strong enough will, a clear understanding of within your mind's eye, within the format of an image, you can do whatever you need to do, especially from a magical point of view. So for the last hour, I've been doing tarot card readings right here on my bed, and it wasn't anything in particular. I was trying to relax tonight, and it just seemed like I couldn't do it because there was something on my mind, something that was needing to be said. So I came in roughly around, well, I don't know, about 7:30, quarter of 8, and just started doing tarot card readings. Just open tarot card readings, trying to find out what is going on. And 3 cards kept popping up. I did 6 readings in a row, just 6 readings. Okay. And the 3 cards that kept coming up was the Queen of Scepters, the 3 of Scepters, and the Queen of Knives. So it's kind of gives you that understanding of, okay, something's up. These 3 cards keep popping up more than the rest. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the other cards kept popping up a little bit as well, here and there. For an example, there was a lot of different major arcana cards that popped up. There was a lot of grails and scepters and stuff like that, but nothing in the formulation of specific cards. Okay. And this is outside of these 3 main cards that kept popping up. So now, after I've contemplated on this, I've decided to do another reading and to do this one live. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you about the former readings. Okay. And I will even I'm just going to tell you the cards that came up. In the first reading, it was Temperance, the Sun, 9 of Knives, 3 of Scepters, and the Priestess. Okay. The second reading, the 3 of Scepters, 7 of Scepters, 5 of Scepters, Lord of Skulls, the Hierophant. Third reading, the Lovers, the Tower, Queen of Knives, Queen of Scepters, and the 3 of Knives. The fourth reading was Second of Scepters, 3 of Scepters, Daughters of Grails, Queen of Knives, and Justice. Okay. The fifth reading was 3 of Skulls, Queen of Skulls, the Devil, and Lord of Knives. Okay. Now, the sixth reading is what basically sealed this fate. Okay. Sealed the deal here. And that was 2 of Skulls, Ace of Grails, 6 of Skulls, Queen of Scepters, yet again, and 2 of Grails. Okay. So right there, you just seen how 3 cards kept popping up. Okay. And so I started going through my books, and I started going through astrology, started going through numerology, started going through sigilliums, alchemy, all the way up into glyphs and hieroglyphs. And like I said, I've been doing this for probably about 45 minutes to an hour now. So, I mean, the fact that these 3 cards kept popping up is kind of like, the gods or the spirits, they're sitting there saying, hey, I've got a message for somebody. Speak. Jump on this. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where they just have something to say tonight, and they're not going to let me rest until I get this out there. So I'm going to begin this reading. As you can see, I've been shuffling my deck repeatedly and trying to get things separated here like I have been for the last hour. And what's interesting here is I'm eager to see what is going to pop up in this reading. So why don't we begin? And I'm going to be laying this down in what is known as the equal armed cross. Okay. Alrighty here. 10 of Knives, 8 of Grails, Lord of Grails, 6 of Scepters, and the Hanged Man. Okay, so this is kind of interesting here. Okay, again, we got a lot of Grails, a lot of Knives, and a lot of Scepters. But the big thing is you got another major arcana, the Hanged Man. So why is the Hanged Man suddenly coming up? We've had the Magician, we've had Justice, the Towers, the Lovers, the Hierophant, Temperance, the Sun, and the Priestess, and Major Arcana. That's just Major Arcana. Okay. So there's definitely something here going on that we need to discuss. So while I was talking about this, I had an image in my mind that I was playing over and over again while I was shuffling. And it was based off this. What is this message supposed to entail? Why do these three cards keep coming up? And what is that message? Okay, the biggest thing is, was it for me? Was it for somebody else? Okay. Now, why don't we get into the actual reading? And I'm going to explain this to you. The 10 of Knives. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm going to write this down as well because of the fact that I'm going to do this a couple of times. Okay. 10 of Knives. 8 of Grails. Lord of Grails. 6 of Scepters, and the Hanged Man. Okay. Now, why do we write things down? Okay. Especially in divination. When we're doing tarot card readings, why is it important to write down your readings? The main thing about doing readings is when you write them down, you tend to see a pattern. Okay. Now, I read off 6 different readings that I did, and 3 cards popped up repeatedly. Okay. And now you see where that came from. Okay. Where did these 3 cards come from? What is that message? Well, that message is in the Queen of Scepters, 3 of Scepters, and the Queen of Knives. So I asked Astaroth what that message was, and this is what popped up. So let's get into this reading. The first card is the issue. Okay, the issue card, and that is the 10 of Knives. And this is what the 10 of Knives looks like. Okay. And this card is actually in shadow aspect, which means it's in reverse. Okay. So the 10 of Knives is more physical things. It is that type of infliction that is going on. The infliction can be a number of different things, from work to relationships to, say, for an example, perhaps dealing with friends or people in general. Okay. And the funny thing about this is that it's that card that is like a woe is me type card in a physical sense of a drained type, how should I say this, depressive state. Okay. It's not really an emotional card. It is a physical card. So therefore you're dealing with the physical attributes of life. You're dealing with the physical attributes of your daily life. And it's finally taking its toll on you. Okay. And that's something that's very fascinating because of the fact that not only is she laying over the bed with the necklace draped down, hanging off the corner of the bed, but you got 3 black candles in the background. And that's something that is very interesting, but only one of them is lit. And that tells me flat out that it's that strangulation And you're going to see where this comes in just a little bit as I go through the cards and reveal more and more to you. Okay. So the next card is called the Eight of Grails. Grails is considered to be a healing type card. Okay. And it looks like this. All right. And this card is in light aspect. Now, what's interesting here is that the 10 of Knives is an earth-based affliction. Okay, therefore it represents earth. Okay, the living flesh, if you wish. Whereas the Eight of Grails is more spiritual and represents the liquid, the water sense. Okay, so therefore you want to take into consideration that water is about healing. Okay, it is that natural healing, life-giving agent, but it's also a part of the four elements or the five elements if you count spirit into this. Okay, now what's interesting here is look at his hands. They're bound together. Okay, and the thing I want to point out here is that feeling bound, you remember what I said about the Lord of Knives, or I should say the 10 of Knives, is that constriction, that lack of motion, okay, feeling drained, that woe is me card. Now, and here we are in the Eight of Grails under water, the solution of water, that nocturnal journey in chains through the underworld, okay? Been caught, okay? Been caught, so to speak. You feel like you're in chains, but instead of being unable to do something in light position, the Eight of Grails really tells you because you're feeling like you're chained, you're claustrophobic, it's time to break that. It's time to begin that healing sense, that healing journey. And that's what brings us into the Six of Scepters. And this is the Six of Scepters. Okay. The Six of Scepters with the religious point of view or the spiritualism. Okay. This is classified as the air of enlightenment, much in the same way as Lucifer, the bearer of truth. Okay. Now, we've all heard this from many different religious point of views and philosophical point of views. But in tarot card readings, especially that of cardomancy, okay, we tend to view a cross as an emblem, what is called a symbol, an emblem of spiritualism, okay? And it's telling us that it's a matter of enlightenment here, okay? So we've gone to the woe was me, the in chains moment, and now we're breaking free into the enlightenment stage, okay? And this brings us right back to the Lord of Grails, okay? The Lord of Grails, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Now, what's interesting here is much in the same way as Attila the Hun, or perhaps one of those feeble storytelling for kids where the good guys always win, the battles are always fought, much in the same way as Viking lore, the Viking stories that are told verbally. Okay. And we've gone right back into the healing sense, but instead of going down, we're actually going up the food chain. So instead of the Eight of Grails, we've gone into the Lord of Grails. Okay. And the Lord of Grails is more of that responsibility, taking that responsibility and literally growing into taking that journey and conquering that which is binding us. Okay. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Welcome to the reading. And that brings us to the Hanged Man. Okay. The Hanged Man is one of those type of cards that nobody really wants to get because it resembles dying. Okay. And a lot of people find this much in the same way as the Death card. Okay. It really freaks a lot of people out, but they really don't understand exactly what is going on. Okay. And I'm going to give you the overall reading here in just a minute once I finish up with this card. Okay. Now, you'll notice that the Hanged Man is in the reverse crucifixion. Okay. Or the reversed image of the cross. Okay. Now, what I find interesting here is this card's in shadow aspect, whereas the other three, much in the same way as our question card, okay, the first card is telling us, hey, there's things that you need to work on. That woe is me card is now being put to death. But instead of putting it to death, we're obsessing over it. And it's killing us inside. Okay? It's killing you inside. And that is what's tearing you apart. Okay? Much in the same way as the Lord of Grails conquering an enemy. You've heard of Grendel, the story of Grendel. Okay? Same exact thing. Beowulf, the feebled hero, going after the feeble monster, the mythic monster of destruction, and beheading it. But instead, between the last card and the first card, it's in reverse. It's coming after and wiping you out. Okay? It's literally draining you of your physical strength, your energy. It's literally harming you physically. Okay? And that's why you have two different grails, which represent healing, which represent water. Okay? And I concur with you, Cindy. It is a very good story. I've heard a couple of different stories about Beowulf and Grendel, but they're very, very similar, rather. But anyways, back to the story here. So what does this all entail? Okay. And how does that go along with these? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you. My son's mother is currently at work. And this weekend, she's going to be spending it with her new boy toy. Okay. So here we got an issue which is very, very close to me that is kind of brings up a lot of, how should I say this, fuck you moments where I really want to go into that Hulk smash moment. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you've got to learn to either go out and just inflict that damage, or you deal with it like a man. Not everybody is going to have somebody in their life. Not everybody is going to be able to keep a family together. Because in reality, not every family is meant to stay together. And in this case, I've got a guy that's coming in and like horse blinders, she's going for it. Okay? But it's her choice to do. It is her choice to make. It's the fact that our son is in the middle of it that is the issue. Okay? So we all go through times of trials. We all go through times where things are challenging. And I'm reminded of the prayer to Lucifer and the prayer to Satan from Myrmidon Pontifex Maximus, where during the prayer he asks Satan to allow us, to give us the strength to conquer the challenges or to deal with the challenges that we are meant to do. Okay? To defeat the enemies that we're meant to defeat. Okay. And a lot of people don't realize that in this situation, we are our own worst enemies, because if we don't think about things, if we do not contemplate on the day's events, all those afflictions that we take in daily, we shove to the back of our minds. What Christopher Penziak wrote in the Temple of Shamanic Witchcraft as being the shadow frame of mind, the back of the mind. And if we don't deal with that, it festers like an open sore and a volcano moment. Okay, explosive rage, explosive how should I say this, depressive states, maybe contemplating suicide, perhaps, wanting to slaughter half of the town or whatever. It's stuff that happens because you've allowed things to fester. You're not discussing it. You're not dealing with it face to face. Instead, you're ignoring it and you're keeping it off into the side. Okay. And basically, this is what the hangman represents. So when we're dealing with the issues of the woe is me, it is the daily afflictions. It is that daily pain that is wearing you down. It's things that you're holding on to. The Grails is telling you, especially the Eight of Grails is telling you, you're in chains right now. You need to break those chains and begin the healing process. The Six of Scepters, the spiritual, finding that faith, finding that courage to step out of the shadows and into the light. Be it Lucifer's light, be it Soroth's light, because both of them are, or even Inti's light. All three of these individuals, including Ra, happen to be known as the sun god. Okay, they are the agents of just one aspect as individuals of the sun god, the actual sun god type attributes. Okay, the Lord of Grails is the victory over those turmoils, those troubles. And you're basically putting these issues to death because you've made up your mind that instead of dealing with these issues, or I should say, by dealing with these issues, you're done with them and you're ready to move on. But instead of, say, doing that whole flip side of thing and letting things fester, letting these issues conquer and defeat you. And the majority of this reading is in light aspect, which tells me that not only are you having these questions, but you're awakening in what is known as the age of Aquarius. Okay, where you're beginning to question your lives. You're questioning your choices. Okay, you're starting to question these things that are happening in your own life, and you're beginning that journey into the healing process, into the enrichment of the life. You're finding that courage. You're finding that faith in yourself. It's not necessarily the faith in a being, such as, say, Lucifer, Ra, Inti, okay? But it's more of the fact that it's about you. It's the stuff that you got to find deep within. And I'm reminded of a story by John Cena. But I wouldn't say it's John Cena. It's more of, what's his name there? He was a member of the Shield. Not Seth Rollins. Not the other guy. It's the Roman Reigns. There we go. See, I had to actually go through it. So that was my little challenge. But I can never remember the guy's name. But Roman Reigns said that he had to find the strength within, deep within. You watch any TV show from, say, Dragon Ball Z, where Goku, becoming that next version of himself, had to delve deep within. Anyone who's been in the martial arts will tell you that you have to push yourself, or any sport for that matter, to push yourself, to look within and find out what you are made of. Are you made of sand? glass? Or are you made of sorcery? Are you made of iron? Okay? That's what you have to decide right there. Look within yourself. Find that faith, that courage to go on. All right? And then fight for what you want. Find that goal and just go for it without fear, without regret. And then do not hesitate to put it to death. The Hanged Man is in shadow aspect, which means somewhere along the line, you're going to question. It means you are going to find that you're going to be tested. You are going to find that you're going to have to make that decision. Put it to death or push it to the back of your mind and forget about it. Are you going to take responsibility for it? Or are you going to shove it off to someone else or something else? But that is your choice to make. I've made my choice. As Cindy just pointed out, your son, that's all that matters. And I concur. Because my son's mother and my mother tends to put me in the middle of their little disputes. So the last time, I got vicious. And I did some things that basically put my son's mother in tears. She broke down at work after reading what I had sent her. My mother didn't even speak to me for 3 days. And then she sent me a book on how it made her feel. So basically, the moral of the story is don't put me in between you two, because I'm not going to play nice. Okay? And because I made that choice, I also have to take responsibility for my actions. And I pointed out to both of them, this is what you're doing to each other. This is what you're doing to your grandson, and this is what you're doing to your son. Now, point that out, and then look what you're doing to me. You're dragging me into something that is not worth my time. The same thing applies here. You either take action or you don't. There is no part-time thing. There is no halfway point. Go the mile, either in your own shoes or someone else's. Stay down in the dirt with the rest of the mundane, or rise and be forged as a sorcerer. That is your choice to make. As Nietzsche said, mankind is something to surpass. And that's the moral of the story. I concur with you on that, Cindy. It's been a long time coming. 25 years. You consider 38 years old when he was conceived, 39 when he was born. He's 13 months now. Yeah, it's beyond about time. But I'm honored that he's here. He's constantly doing things that is impressing the hell out of me and his grandmother. But anyways, that's like I said, that's a different story there. But you get the gist of this reading. You get why it was important for it to be spoken. And as you can see, I did write everything down. And then I just wrote this one down. Okay. I'll probably end up doing a few more before the night's out. But that depends on the spirits, depends on the demons, the angels, depends on the djinn, you know, these beings that are trying to stir me up to get this stuff out there. Trust me, when they start speaking, the best thing you could do is just shut up and listen. Yeah. But anyways, that's the moral of the story. Hope it helps you out. Hope it enlightens your situations. And until next time, enjoy. This Dark Sorcerer is out.